It says, how can someone mine Bitcoin when Bitcoin has a finite amount that exists? And how do miners get certified to mine? You don't have to be quote unquote certified to mine Bitcoin. Like in theory, there's kids that can set up an Xbox to mine Bitcoin. All mining is validation, validating transactions. So when you make a payment on using cryptocurrency, all the network does is it reaches out to the rest of the network and says this payment happened, and it basically validates it. So all mining is validating transactions and make sure that everybody knows that that transaction is real. So every transaction that happens, the whole network gets to know that, and the miners are the ones that validate all those transactions all at once. That's why Bitcoin is the biggest network, and it won't go down because they have all of those miners and all over the world to validate all the transactions. If if a transaction doesn't work or is false, it'll notify all of the rest of the nodes when say, hey, this transaction isn't right, and they'll refuse it and it won't happen.
Interesting. Wow. Did you know that, Patrick?
Yes, I understand that there are a lot of transactions that take place in the crypto space, and that you have all these miners who have these humongous GPUs. You understand what I'm saying? Like they'll use these NVIDIA cards. Just a plug for NVIDIA right there. And these GPUs are so powerful that they could validate millions of transactions that go on in the crypto space. So that's why it's very important to have a good GPU rig for mining, and then
Yeah, and
and you can create income if you validate enough transactions. From what I hear.
yes, one would think mining is like digging and creating, because there are a limited amount of bitcoins, for instance, but really mining is only validating a transaction. I mean, why do you need so many people validating a transaction? And I guess I'm confused. I'm not a crypto guy. I'm just a traditional 30-year investor in the market. But I guess, how do they make money from validating transactions? Who is paying them per transaction to validate?
So
I'm
for
just
every
curious how all of that works.
Yeah, so for every transaction that's validated, that's how the miners get money. They get a small fraction, small piece for validating that transaction. That's why everybody wants to be, a lot of people that are mining want to be a miner because their computer is doing that transaction, and um, while doing so, um, they're making money, or they're making Bitcoin.
And who allows them to be certified again? How do they be anointed the right to say I accurately uh, validate transactions?
Well, basically, you just have to like set your computer up to be able to be a validator. So virtually anybody can be um, like help to validate transactions. Um, so basically, to do that's the reason why everybody does it. But that's the reason why everything on the network is safe, because you got hundreds of thousands of validators validating every transaction. It's better than the way that the current economy works, where they can just print money at will, and you don't know what's counterfeit. In this way, they they can just print at will. But if there's a counterfeit transaction with the Bitcoin network, it automatically refuses it because of all of the hundreds of thousands of validators are out there. So if this transaction happens, instantly it's refused. But if you got somebody that's really good at manufacturing counterfeit bills, oh, there's no stopping that until people really find out about what they're doing.
Interesting. Okay. All right. I see why people put a lot of money in Bitcoin now, because they feel relatively safe that, it's there, whatever they put in, they feel relatively safe that that money is secure.